Oh, foundations of an aggregate DTC model. So we've gone through some of the intuition for directed technological change. That basically, what did we really get out of those toy models with the trees washing up on the beach and stuff? It was like, if the trees are in somehow short supply, then you want to try and raise the productivity of trees. So if trees are in short supply and you can't do anything about that, what you want to do is raise AR, right? Because then by raising AR, you raise the effective augmented supply of trees, AR times R, and then you can boost your production. But if your labor augmenting technology is too low, so labor is in short supply, then you want to raise AL. But now we want to put this into a model, into an economic model, to make it all very concrete and say, okay, if we assume exactly these things, these are exactly the results we get, and then we can really start testing, like, okay, what does this mean for policy? Can we really explain what we see in the real world, etc.? And that's what we're going to do now. Okay. I've just got actually just a few minutes now before I got to go off for a meeting. I'll see what I can do, then we'll pause, and obviously I'll come back and carry on. You won't hopefully notice the difference. Maybe I'll have changed my shirt. Okay. Foundations of an aggregate DTC model. And we start off by focusing on a single firm's production function. So what have we got here? Wow, I need to squint to see this. I'm going to draw this. Maybe I'll pause the video and draw this picture. Okay, so what have we got here? We're zooming in on one particular firm, and we've indexed that firm by I. The firm is buying inputs RI of the resource and hiring inputs LI of labor. And it's also hiring inputs ZLI of research into boosting ALI, and it's hiring or buying input ZRI for research into trying to boost ARI. So these are the research sectors, and these are the outputs of new knowledge in period T, which I can't remember if that was right, and this research is building on a basis of existing knowledge relevant to the sector, and then the output is times the research inputs raised to the power of phi. And the function for ALIT is the same. It's based on the basic foundational knowledge relevant to the sector L, again, times ZLIT to the phi. Phi is less than 1, which is the stepping on toes thing, which I think we talked about before. In fact, we did. Yeah. So then this gives the values of ALI and ARI in the given period, and then we'll kick off for a new period for T+1. Yeah. So the firm has to decide how much labor and resources to buy and how much of the two research inputs to use. And the more of these it uses, the less of these it'll need for a given output. Yeah. Wow, I got to go to my meeting soon. So what happens next? Let's see. So what are we told here? Again, I'm struggling to see. Assume dpi by dyi times yi over pi is -1 minus eta. So what is that? Pi by dyi. times yi over pi is minus 1 minus eta. So pi, that must be the price of yi. So remember, this is, or take note of, yi, this isn't overall production. Y is production of this specific firm's product, yi. So we can't normalize that to 1, yeah. So we call that pi. And there's imperfect competition, yeah, if you remember the previous lecture when I just waved my hands around a lot. So the more of this the firm produces, the lower will its price be. So this is all about marginal revenue, isn't it? This isn't actually marginal revenue, but it's all about marginal revenue. Because dpi by dyi, that's how sensitive the price is to quantity. The more sensitive price is to quantity, the greater the market power. And we basically just defined a parameter eta. I hope that's on screen, yeah. Which is linked to this. Okay, and of course we can derive this, but it's a bit too complicated for this level. Okay, it's more like graduate level to go through the full model where you actually derive this equation from a sort of more fundamental equations about the demand system. Okay, so clearly dpi dyi is negative, isn't it? Because when yi goes up, pi goes down. And if eta is 1, then this is 0, there's no market power. The bigger eta is, the more market power there is. Okay. So we could have derived this from first principles and more basic equations, but we're skipping that. Okay. Now, the next step is using this, which we've basically assumed, sticking with this setup, we state the Lagrangian for the firm. And I think I'm gonna have to do this after the pause. I gotta go for my meeting. But let me just say this before I stop the recording or pause the recording. The Lagrangian is, it's the firm's problem, the firm's profit maximizing problem subject to restrictions, isn't it? So what is the typical single firm's problem? It's you want to maximize, and this is a static problem, okay? Period by period, firms, the way this model is set up is to recreate the firm level knowledge based on general knowledge each period. So we start from scratch each period. It's super simplified that way. So L is revenue of the firm, PI, YI, minus costs. Okay, what are costs? They are WR, RI. Notice no I here, yeah, because this is market, the market price. And WL, LI. I guess I'll put all these in. So what else is costing? It's the price of research inputs, isn't it? Which we can call WZ times both of these added together. Let's do it separately. So it's WZ, ZRI plus WZ, ZLI. So those are the inputs, aren't they? Resource, labor, research input for L, research input for R. Then we also need to add the restrictions, which have to do with this, yeah. How does my knowledge inputs in the production function, and of course yi here is just standing in for this expression here. So you can sort of think of it as if we've written this expression here. And then the restrictions are that ARIT is equal to this and ALIT is equal to this. So we need a lambda RI times the one restriction and a lambda Li times the other. And I'm going to stop there. Hopefully I can remember exactly where I was and pick up from here in about 2 hours' time. Okay, see you soon.